For decades, one of the most dangerous corners of the world quietly shaped the global financial system. Not New York, not London, but a remote region tucked between Myanmar, Laos, and Thailand. A place known as the Golden Triangle. Today, it's famous for one thing, but the real story isn't about crime. It's about money, shadow money, pouring into the world's banks through channels nobody could fully trace. In the mid-20th century, the Golden Triangle became the center of a massive opium economy, not street-level stuff. This was an industrial business run by warlords who operated more like CEOs than criminals. They controlled territory, they managed supply chains, they negotiated international deals, and they generated billions. And like every business, they had one problem. You can't keep billions of dollars sitting in the jungle. It had to move, it had to become invisible, it had to enter the global financial system. So it did. From the 1950s through the 1980s, Golden Triangle profits traveled through small banks in Hong Kong and Macau, money changers in Bangkok, shell companies across Southeast Asia, and eventually offshore accounts with no paper trail. Cash became credit, credit became assets, assets became influence. By the time the money reached major banks in Europe or the US, nobody could say where it came from. Only that it was now clean. This wasn't just laundering. This was the early architecture of the modern shadow banking world, a global network that moves trillions today. And here's where the story becomes even stranger. During the Cold War, the Golden Triangle wasn't just a source of profit, it was a battlefield. Some of the factions fighting communism in the region were also major players in the opium trade. They controlled valleys, airstrips, and mountain passes. They had power, they had armies, and they had money. There's no evidence of a coordinated conspiracy, but there is evidence that global powers cooperated with groups whose money came from the triangle because they were useful. Geopolitics ran on influence, influence ran on money, and in a remote corner of Asia, money was flowing like a river. By the 1970s and 80s, billions in untraceable funds had entered legitimate financial channels. Real estate was purchased, businesses were funded, banks held deposits they never questioned, entire economies felt the ripple. The Golden Triangle didn't just produce opium, it produced capital, capital that moved faster, quieter, and more effectively than any regulated financial system. And it taught the world a lesson. Money without oversight, money without a name, your money that can cross borders without leaving fingerprints. That money is power. The Golden Triangle isn't what it used to be. But the financial pathways it created, the offshore accounts, the shell companies, the anonymous transfers, never disappeared. They got bigger, smarter, faster, digital. And today, those same shadow channels move everything from corporate wealth to political money to fortunes that we'll never see. Because the Golden Triangle wasn't just a region. It was the birthplace of a new kind of financial world, one that doesn't operate in the light, one that learned to live in the shadows. Thanks for watching. If you want more breakdowns like this, make sure you're subscribed. I'll see you in the next one.